He's doing the meeting, not me. Ted is. Okay, can we start? What do you think? Yes? Ted, can I start yakking?
He's muted.
Now, Pablo,
Yeah, I turned it on.
you started the recording already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, done, we can start? Okay, welcome, this is our first meeting, it's so nice, I'm so nervous to get our community board here started with the housing committee. Welcome, Ted and Pablo, as we know, are gonna do the Zoom. Thank you, Pablo, for setting it up. And Ted I'm supposed to announce that he has a pre-approved exemption for this meeting. We need 4 for a quorum, so I think that's easy enough to see. I'm here, Mr. Barry is not, Lee?
I'm
Here, Ingrid, present, Jessica?
Here.
And Ted is online, so that is,
Doesn't count as a quorum, though, does he?
yes, he does, because he has permission, or whatever you call it, right?
Extraneous circumstances, EC.
Yeah, he was granted it, so.
All right, so we have quorum?
We have quorum, five members. 1 with extraordinary circumstances, okay, and you got the time, so we're starting. That's good. Whoa, okay, I got that much done. So just as a reminder, I'm supposed to say, if people want extraordinary circumstances, I'm supposed to get an email, no later than noon the day of the meeting. Okay, and if somebody's not gonna attend the meeting, forget extraordinary circumstances, just you're not able to make it. Just if you could send me an email or a phone, so I know not to, be expecting you, I'd appreciate that. Does everybody know each other, by the way? I know, Ingrid, are you a second year, dear?
Yes,
You're second year, and you're
Brand new.
You're, okay. Anybody wanna say anything to, you know, about who you are, or where you come from, or anything? If anybody wants to, or we can talk after the meeting and get to know each other. It's a small enough group, so we'll get to know each other very well.
Well, we got to know each other at the last.
Yeah, at the full board meeting.
We sat next to each other.
Moving on, the approval of the April 2023 minutes. It was.
I believe only myself and Julie
Oh,
were.
yeah.
Okay, we're not gonna do the introductions? Sorry.
Do you wanna, I don't think we need to,
I've never met Ingrid, that's
Oh,
good. Yeah, okay, we've met, but yes, I guess I'm new to the board, you think, that's it.
Ingrid is in her second year,
Yeah,
so
she
she's
was on
a
the housing
sophomore.
committee last term also.
Okay, great.
We were very small.
All right, well, nice to meet you.
So the minutes, again, none of us were there except for Lee. You are allowed to vote on the minutes, even if you were not present at that meeting. It is allowed by Robert's rules, it's perfectly acceptable. They were sent to you. I would urge that we approve them. Lee can attest to the fact they are correctly.
They are correct.
They are
They're
correct,
very short.
and they're short, right. So,
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from April
2023. Okay?
Second.
Anybody, want to object to adopting the minutes? Anybody want to abstain? Okay, I will deem that they have been approved unanimously. Good. Okay, now, so on my report, I put these 2 items down here in the chair's report because I attended both of these things, shall we say. So, the City of Yes was a webinar, and the borough budget consultations was also on a Zoom webinar. So I attended both, and I thought, let me just report on them. The first one is more significant. I did send everyone except, oh God, except Ingrid, the YouTube webinar city planning presentation of that. And I think the second thing that was in that email, I think it's some written materials on, the City of Yes also. Let me just, at the beginning, it's the City of Yes housing. Much of it is zoning, but it really is housing. So this committee really needs to take a look at it and weigh in at some point. I'm not sure how, but it is housing. So I think we have an obligation to review it. Did anybody have a chance to listen to the webinar, the oh God, we always let.
I listened to it and I completely forgot it.
Okay, and Jessica, did you have a chance
Yes, I
to?
did, yeah.
Okay, so, there were three zoning texts for the City of Yes, right? One is on environmental, one is on economic development, and then there's this one on housing. So the City of Yes has three separate zoning texts. This is one of the three. On this one, they said, which is interesting, we will not see an actual zoning text proposal for 6 months. In 6 months, it will come to us for a community board review, okay, under ULURP. Because it's a zoning text, it's a ULURP item, handled a little differently than a private application, but it's still,
Coming from the city.
exactly, but it's still,
Excuse me,
it's still ULURP.
Rosemary,
Yes, yes?
before we continue, someone entered without a name, so I need to ask that person, their name, to rename them.
Okay.
Hi, Ted, can you hear me? It's Julie.
Hi, Julie. You're the
Hi.
646 number?
Yes, I had emailed Rosemary. I didn't know how to change my name.
Gotcha.
Sorry about that.
I could do it for you right now.
Thank you, Ted. Good hearing your voice, too.
Same, it's been a while.
Okay, can I keep going then?
Yes, ma'am, you're good to go.
Okay, so, in 6 months, the community board is gonna get an actual zoning text for City of Yes housing, and, it will be a ULURP item, but if you go to the end of the YouTube thing, it says that the environmental review is going to be starting now. So, for the new, stop me if you know this, I don't wanna, but since you're new, I thought I would,
Yeah, please.
so in a ULURP, there has to be an environmental assessment of the discretionary action. And that environmental assessment, has to be done and be in a draft form, not yet adopted, by the time a text is handed to us.
And then it also has to be certified before it comes to you.
Correct,
It
correct.
hasn't been certified either.
Yeah, because they haven't done the environmental assessment, that's exactly the point.
I'm
That's why we're not
remembering
gonna see it for 6 months. So, but what's interesting is, the first thing in environmental review is what's called scoping, that the agency has to scope out what they're gonna study. What are the elements that they think need to be examined, analyzed, studied in their environmental review? So the scoping session is October 26th.
Ooh, this Thursday.
That's right, October 26th, and, at 2 p.m., that's what it says on the YouTube. October 26th, 2 p.m. is the scoping session, at which point, we can put in questions or things that we think should be studied or what have.
Is it gonna be on Zoom or in person?
I'm not sure, I have to find,
Right.
that I have to find out, okay? I do know it's the 26th at 2 p.m. And, it's not just that one time. The law says that the city has to give 10 additional days for people to put in their comments. What do you think should be studied? What should be included? So it's October 26th, 2 p.m., plus 10 days for comments. And that is what this yellow piece of paper is. I think we should talk about this at the end. Let me keep talking. I just put some stuff down that we might want to consider. So maybe it would be good if I just outlined what I think City of Yes and housing, the main points. One is, they want to end, R1 zoning. That is pretty clear. They want the lowest density zoning, they,
Single-family home.
that's right, single-family home.
Oh, in the city of, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the first. I'm kind of going through what's.
I don't know how to take notes, that's why I'm a little lost.
You don't have,
Oh,
that's okay, so you can say I just went through it, I don't.
Okay.
The second part is affordable housing, which should be the meat and potatoes of it.
And do they define affordable housing?
This is as much as I got. And once, and believe, now we have 6 months to really go more into depth on this. They call a thing a UAP. That's what their program is, UAP, Universal Affordability Preferences. Now, did you ever hear of a dumber name for a program?
Never heard of it, right.
Universal Affordability Preferences, UAPs. I'm just gonna say UAPs from now on. And, they said that they're gonna increase the floor area ratio for every category of housing, so that that extra floor area can produce affordable housing. I know. So they gave an example. R7 now has a floor area ratio of 4.0. MIH, mandatory inclusionary housing, has a floor area of 4.6. And the new one, they want to go right to 5. So that's a 25% increase in floor area that they are going to be proposing for all residential zones to get more housing.
Are they also going to propose eliminating parking?
Yes, that's further down the list. Yes, yes. Now, they also said, let me see, they also want to increase housing, a thing called ADUs, accessory dwelling units. That's the big, accessory dwelling units, ADUs. And what that is if you have, this is for lower density zones, you have a 1 or 2 family house, you can turn
Utilize the basement.
the attic, the garage, or just build additional on your land. Go ahead and build it. The 4 places you can put another unit. Your garage, your attic, your basement, or your backyard. So those are ADUs. Then comes no parking requirement, okay? So that's it, no parking. No required parking in zoning. Every zone, Jessica, has a parking requirement, so like in R1 district, it's 100%, right? You got 1 unit, you gotta have one, okay. And as you go up, it gets smaller and smaller, it's fewer and fewer, what have you, okay. But they want no requirements for zoning. The next thing they talk about is increasing the floor area for housing on campuses.
Dormitories.
It's housing, they really want housing. The examples that they gave were churches with a parking lot.
Oh.
So you have a church with a parking lot, and they're saying, build affordable housing on your parking lot.
Like what they're doing with the NYCHA. They're taking away the open space and putting housing.
Got it. Okay, so that's the, but campuses, when you think about, well, let me just finish, the SROs, did I do that, in affordable housing? Oh, they also want to make, if you want to rent an apartment, okay, they want to create a second unit in that unit. So a total stranger will be sharing the kitchen and the dining area, 2 separate people. So you're coming back to SR, it's like, you're bringing back SROs, okay? And this you know better than anybody, they talked about AMI. Now, what does AMI stand for?
Area median income.
Okay. And the area, they said it's 80% here or something, I don't know.
No.
That's,
There's a guideline, it's 80% of area median income right now.
That's it.
Oh, so the housing is for 80% or lower?
Well, they were using, giving examples, at the end of the day, the affordability of the
But
housing.
it's ridiculous, I had this whole,
I know.
I hate it, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's based on gross income, like, it's
City
just,
planning does, statistics about AMI based on community board rather than by the federal. You only have to use AMI if there's federal dollars involved in the development.
Mhm.
If it's private, if it's city or state money, you don't have to use the AMI, which is generated every April by HUD. And it's federal, and our AMI includes Long Island and Westchester.
Westchester.
yeah, so
So
that's,
it brings it up.
yeah, it's good, yeah, I see.
You know, Westchester has Scarsdale, Mamaroneck, Rockland, you know, Bronxville and all that, so it brings up, and the same thing with the island. But, if you go use AMI based on the community board, more
Really realistic, yeah,
for the community it currently is.
correct.
So they said 80%, and
Okay.
80% today is $113,000 a
Yeah.
year.
Right.
That's what they said. So, plug AMI is $113,000. Okay. This is what they said, and Lee knows housing so well. I don't know what they meant by saying this, but city planning said, we can do better than that in our proposal. We are now discussing with HPD income averaging in every building. Income averaging
I
in
never
every
heard that
building.
term.
There you go,
They made it up.
okay?
Same
So instead of, I guess, unit by unit having to meet that, they're talking about doing income averaging for an entire building. I do not know what that means.
That makes no,
don't know
I don't even
either.
know the point, right.
Yeah.
Well-
What does that generate? Does that
Yeah,
generate more
my neighbor's
affordability?
money has nothing to do with my money,
Well, I guess you can have rich people in there, and they average for, what else does income averaging mean?
No idea.
Okay, that's, we have, in this 6
There must
months,
be
we're gonna
people
learn a
on
lot.
city planning who have nothing else to do.
Well, they said they're discussing with, HPD, this concept of income averaging. So,
Maybe we can have HD and city planning come speak.
oh, God, I got that later in my agenda, we need speakers, that's exactly what I wanna, and do you know who that would be? Who the
Well,
appropriate?
HBD is Ted, but I don't think Ted knows.
Well, we can figure out who we should ask,
It would have to
right?
be someone in development, and
Okay,
Ted's role is except that he lives in Riverdale.
well, if it isn't Ted could tell us who the person would be, right? He could, okay. So that's what I got out of, listening to City of Yes Housing. Exclusionary, the R1's gone, or they want them gone. Universal affordability preferences, which is bizarre. SROs are back. Attempt to do income averaging, accessory dwelling units in garages, basements, yards, and attics. Parking requirement gone. Increase FAR on campuses, and that's what I got out of the entire thing. Now, when you look at all of that, what really affects Community Board 8? I mean, R1 definitely. Definitely. Affordable, because we all care about affordable housing. The no parking requirement, that's a big issue up here, you know that.
Right.
Campuses, you wanna know how many campuses we
Oh
have?
my God, yeah.
Mount St. Vincent, Hebrew Home,
And
college,
yeah, it's a lot.
a lot, and,
And can they actually dictate?
Right.
no, they're allowing, and if you wanna build housing,
Oh.
they would they gave the example, community facilities get more floor area. So they gave the example of 3.0 FAR, that's in one of the zones, and they would go up to 3.9. So they even wanna raise the FAR on community to create more units. If you're gonna build housing on a campus,
Do
you're
they
gonna
talk
get even
about,
more.
I don't remember the size of each unit. Are they talking about units for
Do not,
studios, one bedrooms, three bedrooms?
I did not hear that
I
in the
didn't hear- I don't
I did
know.
not hear in the presentation. I did not.
Yeah, it'd just be interesting.
It's inevitable that we will hear about it, but anyway. Okay, so, once again, we have 6 months. I think it's a good idea to get a speaker from HPD to come
And city planning, since city
and
planning
city
is a
planning.
meeting. And actually, there is a person that comes to our full board meeting, I forget her name. You could actually maybe do a presentation for
Okay.
us at the housing. Julie, do you remember the name of the city planning person? Thompson represents city planning at the, full board meeting? I forget her
Yes,
name.
we actually have the city planning coming Thursday night to the event. And Farrah can also set up a speaker to come
Okay.
to the meeting for the text amendments and any other subject. But Thursday, the city planning will be attending. And in regards to, I didn't know how to raise my hand on this thing. I'm glad you called me. In
Okay.
regards to the text amendment for tomorrow night, when I get to a computer, Rosemary, if you don't have it, I can email you the link information so that whoever wants to testify tomorrow night, not tomorrow night, when is it, the 26th? The same night as ours. That's when, yeah, it is the same night. When you have to register at least an hour before, and I'm sure you could write in as well. I'll send the link to you as soon as I get to a computer, Rosemary, and then you can
Okay,
give it
this
to
is
your
for-
committee members.
This is for the scoping,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
yes. They can register up to an hour before, so as soon as I get to a computer, I'll email it to you.
Okay, so now so you got this sheet, I'm sorry, Julie, you don't have this, and Ted, you don't have it. It's just, I just, from what I went through, I was trying to think of what questions we could ask. And this is strictly off the top of my head, so I'll read them so Julie can hear them too. SROs, that's single room occupancy. See, SROs citywide were legislated out of existence in the 1980s for many reasons, all outlined in the legislative intent of that local law. What analysis will be done to determine the effect of new SRO-type housing on the legal rationale to outlaw SROs? Is that a decent enough, I don't know. That's an environmental, question.
I know they outlawed it, SRO.
Oh, yes, oh my God.
There's someone who lives in it.
No, it was in the 80s. It was very, very much, an
But they
Upper West Side
grandfathered
issue.
ones at the very end.
Maybe.
And I like how you framed it, where it's just like, why are we reinventing the wheel? Like, we went over this already.
And an environmental review has to quantify impacts. So, they were legislative out of existence for reasons. Now you're bringing them back. What analysis are you doing to, okay, does
Yeah.
it make, okay.
Yeah, great question.
Okay, the second one, the increased population created by the proposed zoning change will affect all municipal services, police, fire, ambulances, schools, water, sewers, traffic, power, health, etc. Project the new population, including the migrant population. Project the new needs versus current need levels and how they are currently being met as evidenced in the MMR is the Mayor's Management Report. And a friend of mine said, put that in because there's gonna be new needs, there's gonna be new needs when you have an increased population. Okay, what are the current need levels as evidenced in the Mayor's Management Report? When it came out, he got very bad, the city got really, really bad reviews on all the levels of service. So, if the existing level of service for all of these things, now you're adding new population, okay, that's what that question was trying to get at. Is it garbled? That's what.
Yeah, I think we can, the first part is fine, the increased population created by the proposed zoning. Is the increased population created by the proposed
Yes.
zoning change?
Yes. Because remember, I said the
Oh, because you need
APUs,
more housing.
25% more FAR, and on campuses, 33% more floor. It's, you have a single-family home, now you can put a unit in your garage, a unit in your basement, a unit in your attic. That's all increased population.
So is it gonna be then, because right now we're asking them to project the new population. Do we wanna create, like a limitation, like what are they using? So, like, how are they projecting the new population?
They'll tell us in the environmental assessment how they reach that number.
We're not,
We don't have to do their work for them.
okay.
And Rosemary, I heard on the radio this morning that, I don't know what agency did this, but 540,000 New York residents have left the city.
Yeah. Mhm.
They've gone to Florida,
Mhm.
New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Mhm.
So, living in those housing that they
Mhm.
vacated.
That's,
Wanna ask that question?
that doesn't have to do with, the environmental assessment has to do with what their proposal is, and their
Right.
proposal is to increase zoning, increase the
I think this is an excellent question, and it almost needs to be, each one needs to be addressed, every municipality has to be addressed separately.
And then the third is analyze the cumulative effect of adding ADUs. Remember what the ADUs are? That's the garage, the attic, the basement, yeah. Cumulative effect of adding ADUs in basement, garages, yards in lower density districts on water, sewer, power, et cetera. Because in those districts that are now R2, R3, R4, the sewers, the water, everything is built for that density. For that density.
Right.
So if you're gonna take where, a family of 4 live and then put 12 people on that site, the demand on water, sewers, et cetera, is going to increase. So that's why I thought it was a separate question from just the overall. And it affects Community Board 8, because we have a lot of,
Runoff.
we have that, and 2 and 3 family, houses.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the last one drives me crazy, but I had to put this in. And it's a little garbled, but analyze the environmental consequences of eliminating parking requirements in terms of the extra driving time to locate a street space, the pressure put on side streets searching for spaces. That is a classic environmental issue.
Agree.
Classic.
Agree.
They have to do the numbers, they have to do air quality. You drive your car around a block 10 times, there's an air quality impact
You
on
know
it.
what they're doing? They're making an assumption that eliminate the parking space, you're not gonna need a car,
Oh, gee.
right?
No, and that's not the case,
I
right?
know, because if there's no public transportation that's adequate for that individual
Especially
need.
us, right, like,
Yeah.
we're just busted.
Yeah. Well, they can't wish it to go away. That's what they do many times. They just wish it it'll go away, it will not be a problem. If there's no space, you'll give up your car. No, sorry, that isn't the
That's
way
not
an
how it works.
environmental
Yeah.
review works. It isn't. So I put that, and then I went for analyze the definitive number of streets, because this bothers me. The definitive number of street spaces eliminated over the last 10 years due to public policy decisions and the environmental effects of those. I mean, all the bike paths, all the plazas, all
The
outdoor-
for the restaurants, too,
That's right.
That's all post-COVID stuff.
Exactly.
Which
So,
I can't fathom why they have to do it in the gutter and not on the sidewalk, against the building.
nobody's thinking, it's just very bad public policy, really.
I'd like to add, just like, I know that, we have this whole rat problem, right? And more people means more rats, 6 to 20 per person. So that's an environmental effect. I'm not sure how to phrase the question, but, a request for, how the increase in population in general,
They increase the rat population.
literally, Directly and locally, okay, so.
You don't have to do it right now, I mean, but.
I don't know how to, I write the question, but it's like, okay, how?
And Adams can't even take care of his own single-family home, or
Mhm.
two-family, I don't know which one he lives in. Is it a two-family or a single-family home? And he's been cited.
In New Jersey or?
No, the one in Brooklyn, the one in Brooklyn. The one in Jersey is a co-op.
You gotta be specifically.
There's one in Brooklyn
Yeah. Mm.
that he's been cited twice for rat infestation. He can't deal with his own property and he wants people in the city.
So these were just my thought, again, I went over this, I said, I gotta put something down because the 26th is
It's
right
right
here. You guys wanna think about it, let me know if these are okay, you wanna
No,
say
these
they're
are
okay,
great.
they're
Yeah,
okay
these
now?
are great.
I wish we had more time, we just don't, you know, but.
This is a great start.
Okay.
He said there's gonna be more than one scoping session anyway.
No, there's one scoping session, that day, and then there are 10 additional days to put comments in.
Oh, a commentary.
And then when it's done, it comes back as a draft, so you're able to comment on the draft before. So it's not that, you can't put new questions in,
Right,
but you can question what they did,
right.
and yeah.
I just don't see, like, is there an understanding, and your question might carry it, where it's like, these people are commuting, we just don't have the infrastructure to maintain what we already have. So, like, are there remote jobs where these people are going to work? Like, how are they addressing, just commuting in and out of the city? I don't know how to express the question exactly, but, because is that a municipal service, at the end of the day, that's where, and then it just goes, I don't know.
But if you focus on what they're proposing, and what they're proposing is increasing floor area, increasing number of units, it's like the question, okay, are these people gonna have jobs? I mean, it has to be grounded in what their discretionary action's gonna be. And to me, it's the elimination of parking, increasing density all over the place.
The increase in density is the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing, absolutely, absolutely the biggest thing.
Everything we wanna do is gonna impact the infrastructure that currently
will.
exists, and they're talking about how it's gonna impact the infrastructure.
I know that along, the river here,
Right.
and, there were, many of the sewers are private, they're private sewers, they're not even city sewers. They can't did you know that?
No, I
They can't even take additional, they can't take additional.
Private, you mean by the
Private.
owners, the
You
owner?
got it,
Oh.
that's right, they're private.
Oh.
Also, I remember, you know where BJ's is? You
Yeah.
know that?
Yeah.
You know down, okay.
Broadway.
When that was built, I mean, that's a lot of stores and restaurants.
Right,
It was a
yeah.
whole development that was done at once.
Right.
It didn't open for months because there wasn't sufficient water pressure to service that site.
And we approved it before?
No, we didn't, there was no, that was as of right. There was no, approval for that. It wasn't. The zoning allowed it and they could build it, but they couldn't open it because there wasn't sufficient water. But they had to redo the pipes to get, so it just shows, I think, as Lee was saying.
We're not built for this.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, if we are in the environmental assessment, that's exactly right, Jessica, that's the point. Is this okay?
Yeah,
Can we?
yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, thank you. My head is splitting. Okay, so we have some questions. I'll get the contact, from, Julie and send it around to everybody and, okay, that's good.
Contact what, to invite for a speaker?
If you want it, no, to put these questions in, to.
Someone else, so we just give them the questions and they'll upload it or send it and like.
Oh, I'm gonna be yak, right at them.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And it's the kind of thing you can just go in and listen to it also, I mean.
No, but like, we gotta, like, before they start yesing everything, and then we have to express the concern.
Mhm.
This is a lot,
It's a lot, it is,
you know? This
it is. Okay, so, that's good. Can I move
Mhm.
away from this then? Okay, that's grand. So the next thing was the borough budget consultations. Again, just to let you know, this happens every year at exactly the same time. The way it used to be done is, I'm sure it's still the same. The community boards in the Bronx get together, the district managers get together, and they come up with a list of questions to give every city agency. And they agree on a consistent list of questions, and there are sessions where the city agency gives the answers to the district managers, and I went to listen to one of these, so I would, okay. What you have in front of you, the three documents, are the synthesis of what the questions were and what the answers were. Again, I'm showing it to you so that you understand what a borough consultation is for next year, but this is over and done with. But you'll see the questions are point, and you'll see the answers for each of them. Okay. Once again, you know.
All right, let's look at it together. I'm not.
Yeah, when you're stuck on the subway, you can.
I'm not. This is my time.
Mhm.
Oh, no subway.
And again, this is over and done with for this year.
Right.
So this is once a year. Now, next year, if we have questions for the committee, we can, go to Farah and say, try and get this question in to ask the, agency during borough consultations. So we can play more of a role next year, but this is over for this year, anyway. But I thought it was good, so you see the nature of the questions and kind of what they do.
Also, Adams made a mandate that all agencies had to reduce their budget by, was it 18%?
15. Five, and 5, in three separate parts of the year, 5, and 5.
So a lot of what we ask will probably be ignored.
But you see, some of the questions are interesting. It's how many, in the Housing Authority one, it was interesting that said, how many positions are vacant in the Housing Authority? Do you see?
I'm sure there are a lot.
It depends
Well,
on
APD
where it
has
is.
a lot.
So, you know, the questions, it's not just money, it's not just
Yeah.
money, it's operational stuff, that they get asked in the borough
And
consultation.
I think the 5% is OTPS, not PAS. OTPS stands for other than personal services. Means programs,
And paper and toilet
Yeah,
paper and, you
yeah.
know.
and PS is personal services, which is
Mhm.
staffing. And I know that at HPD, they have a huge amount of vacancies, which is why they say they can't do development, because they don't have the staff. to
I've heard
do it.
that, I have heard that, I have actually heard
But
that.
the mayor's office has enough money to hire all these new positions at six-figure salaries, including ones who pick fights with security guards.
Did you see that story?
Yeah. Oh, was a former police officer or something, he makes,
One of his best friends.
yeah, he makes
Mhm.
like, I think, $300,000 as a senior advisor to the mayor.
So I will, just one last thing on the borough budget consultations, as they were kind of yakking, giving answers back and forth, one thing that they said, and I think you'll find this interesting, HPD said that they are working to put out, and they're getting close to put out, a new J51 program.
Oh, it came, I saw something in today, on, that state approved the new J51 program and a 421A. I don't know what the J51
Okay,
is.
that's, I was gonna.
Rosemary, I emailed you a copy in your email tonight when it came out.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you have
Okay,
access to your
good.
email.
Well, I'll make sure that the members of the committee, get it.
Okay.
J51 is an old program from what, the 80s, 70s, 80s. And the idea of it is existing housing. You know, in those days, all of this housing was being, would kind of fall apart, and then taxes wouldn't be paid, and the city wound up owning all of these apartment buildings. So the J51 program was, you say to an owner, if you put in a new roof, you need a new roof, you need a new furnace, right?
Excuse me, Rosemary,
We will give you, what?
before you move forward, an iPhone just came into the room. I just want to find out who they are.
Okey dokey.
Do you know who the first person to get the,
Yeah, iPhone.
421A?
Can you please give us your name?
Trump. The Trump Tower.
iPhone,
New
you were just
iPhone.
iPhone, you were just admitted into the room. Can you please state your name?
Oh, Camelia.
Hello? Yes,
Hi,
yes. Hello, good
Camelia.
evening.
How are you?
Oh, sorry, I will mute
Good.
myself, guys. I'm great. Thank you so much for allowing me in. I will now mute myself and just observe. Thank you.
Thank you, good.
Thank you.
So Japheth, do you say to the owner, if you need to put in a roof, you need new furnace, you need, cost money? Well, if you put that money in that capital improvement, we, the city, will give you a tax abatement and an exemption. It's a double thing, right? Something like that.
An odd number.
To assist you in, if you put that money in, you'll get it back over time because we will abate your taxes. So that's J51, which needs to be updated in my.
It expired and they didn't renew
you
it
go.
at the state legislature, but they just, something, I just read it in,
Julie said she sent it to me, so if I get something, I'll send it to everybody. But that is, you know, they talk about affordable housing, that's building new housing. Here's a program to keep existing housing in good shape, and that is, okay. So I wanted to mention that, they said that in the borough consultation thing. Okay, so, moving right, the next is gonna be really quick. I just put this in, local law 152 and 97.
we had a long conversation.
That's it. The reason I put this in, it was in the minutes, it's like a bridge between last year's housing committee and starting this year. I put it in because they were big issues, and I just wanna know,
Amalgamated housing.
is there anything we should be doing, is there anything new?
Local law 152 said that building owners needed to upgrade their gas pipes.
Yes,
So what happened was that a lot of building owners, including my co-op, put in new gas lines. And the due date was actually before local law 97. Now it's become a moot issue because local law 97 says you have to go all electric, right, which is costing an arm and a leg. And especially if you're a large building like Amalgamated is. You have to start doing this next year or else you start getting penalized. Now, I had hoped that maybe we could have a seminar on it and have Department of Buildings is overseeing it, and they have a consultant called Accelerator who's working with them, and they will also do financing. But I don't know what the latest information is because I haven't been keeping up on it. But
we're talking about 97 now,
97,
local
we're going
97.
yeah.
And again, I picked it up from the last minutes
Right.
because I thought there'd be a bridge over. I like your idea. It's gonna be very costly. This is a big issue
Oh,
for, co-ops and, it really is,
landlords.
and landlords. The New York Times just did a big article on it. Rules of buildings, carbon emissions exasperate everybody, right? And buried in it, it says, the public may comment on the new rules. The city put out rules to comment on, we never saw the new rules, okay. And the new rules become law on October 24th, which is tomorrow. I just read it in the Times article. So this is very expensive for buildings, it is a big issue, it has to be a big issue in our community board. So maybe a speaker or a forum on that?
Yeah, we
That's
get
a
someone
great
from
idea.
DOB. I don't know who the liaison for DOB is, comes to our community board meetings.
Okay.
Who would come?
The person
DOB.
from Department of Buildings. They're the ones that are overseeing this,
Yeah.
the lead agency.
And it's timely, actually, because the law goes into effect tomorrow. There are no more comments on the rules, so it goes into effect, it's timely to say, okay, the rules are set, now come and tell us about them, no?
What's going on?
My head is splitting.
Yeah, like this is.
Okay, no, we have to spread this out over months, this committee is, has a lot to do. Oh, okay, so, Woodley, we're gonna,
See if we can get someone from DOB to come,
okay.
and they'll probably bring their consultants, the accelerator. I attended a Zoom meeting several months ago when City Council member Gail Brewer had this function for her community, and Department of Buildings was there. I don't have my notes on that one. But it was well attended, there were like 90 people on it, because they're,
It affects everybody.
yeah, because there were people from our community who live in co-ops, and they, Mitchell-Lamas, which we have a lot of, we have about 7 Mitchell-Lamas, co-ops, and it impacts them all, one way or another, and if you don't have the reserve to pay for this work, you're up shit's creek.
It's really, and it's very expensive, the work to.
And the penalty is expensive.
Yes, if you don't do it, you big
So
penalties
you
for it.
actually have to be in communication with the city government to ensure that you're not getting a dunning letter.
Got it.
Definitely, we need to have,
We'll do that.
and advertise, and it, we could sponsor it, but it should be a full board type meeting. Agree?
It's a lot to put together, it can be put together. Not for next month, I
Oh,
can
no.
tell you that.
No.
It's, but I think it would be worthwhile,
Right.
I do. Okay, so, now I go to, the Housing Resource Guide, which I think is something that we really should consider doing. Updating it.
Updating it?
Okay. So, we're not.
Julie and I worked on it the first
I
time.
know.
Paul
Paul
Ellis.
Ellis, yeah. It's, actually, I had a brief conversation with Julie. I mean, I think we agree, it is a very useful document for the community. It's a very, very useful document. It does need to be updated. Look at the date, 2017. It needs to be updated.
My building's on here and it's not. Yeah, it's not.
So,
What's your building?
Cordier Gardens, Cordier Gardens went private years ago.
it needs to be updated, right?
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Now, once it's done, the distribution of this was at the, like the street fairs and stuff, when we tabling events, we'd hand it out. We give it to elected officials to put in their offices when people come in for, service, constituent, problems. It would be there to pick up. It's a useful document, and I think it would be worth our while to update it. You agree?
I agree.
Okay, so, I'm not sure how we're gonna tackle this. We're not gonna decide tonight how we tackle it.
I don't even remember how we did it the first time.
I think there was a lot of work went into it. I hope updating it is, it clearly is not as difficult as updating it, because you have, the framework is there anyway. So, take a look at it, this is the first time I think it, and we'll see how we will attack that. But that's another, so we have the City of Yes, we have update this, we have, HPD should come and talk to us, right? About the affordable housing and DOB.
And city planning.
And city planning, yes.
For the,
City planning and HPD for the, yes.
yeah, for the, City of Yes.
Okay,
And primarily, probably more city planning, 'cause they're the lead agency, they're the ones writing this. And they could
they are
tell
the
us
ones.
and they could tell us who from HPD would be the appropriate staff person who they're working with.
Well, that's true, that's
It's
true.
not, I don't think it's,
But when it comes to that concept that we don't even know what it is, what was it called? Income
income.
averaging, that's HPD, that's not city planning.
Oh, they They made it up?
They said they're in conversations with HPD, that they can do better. The mayor wants to do better for affordable housing, and we can do better than just AMI math. We're gonna do income averaging, we're talking to HPD. Nobody if Lee doesn't know what income averaging is,
Nobody knows. I believe it.
Julia Gardens privatized?
Yeah.
When is it privatized?
Like, I think on, like, 2017.
Or rather, because I know
Yeah.
Civic Tower is privatized also.
So we don't have as much affordable housing as we think.
You didn't get the vote to stay in.
Okay, then the last thing I have down is just expense and capital budget items for fiscal year 2026. This is not something we do now.
No.
It is something that would be, but I bring it up because, like Jessica
I'm
said,
new,
okay.
put me on, I don't know what's going, right, I'm.
Rosemary,
It should be, yes?
yes, we have a hand raised from Camellia.
Okay. Go ahead, Camellia.
Rosemary, just to make sure you have this on your radar on the City of Yes, you know about this October 27th forthcoming meeting, right? Or you don't?
Yes, 26.
26.
Excellent. Okay, just wanted to make sure. I apologize because I missed the first sort of
2
20 minutes.
o'clock.
Thank you.
We got it. Okay, so, the expense and capital budget, the housing committee will be considering what expense and capital budget items we may want to ask for fiscal year 2026, believe it or not. And that usually gets done January, February, March, something like that. We'll be doing it. So that is in the future, but wanted to put it on your radar. And one thing you might be interested in doing, Jessica, and Ingrid, you were around last year, so, if you go to our website, under Budget Committee, it has every single year what, committees ask for that particular year in the budget. So you'll get a sense of what has been asked for. This committee traditionally does a lot of housing authority requests, but if you go back 10 years or 15 years, you'll see other budget requests, like inspectors, increased number of inspectors, and, so, again, that comes up into the, okay? There'll be a January, February, March kind of thing. You just sat through, in October, we adopted the community board's request. Yes.
We did,
Yes, we did.
I saw the list, there was a lot of work, so.
There you go. Okay, so for speakers, I think, we have the speakers we'd like to see, and what? And the next meeting is November 27th.
Oh, right, before things, after.
No, after.
Right.
Is it
Oh.
after Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm exhausted.
It's a lot, there's a lot here. Here. I wonder, do we want this guide to be paper, or would it be just like a digital webpage?
It's on the web, isn't it? It's on our.
It's on the website, yeah, but this is, we like Kelly, this is, we work for the community.
But that, I mean,
community.
for the community.
For the community.
CB8, that's what I mean.
So, at the tabling events, in elected officials' offices, in government offices, everything, paper. I'm an old-fashioned girl, but that's what, not everybody has a computer. Yeah.
Right, I didn't say that.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Okay, so, what, is that, we covered an awful lot.
Mhm. One of the things that, we need to recognize is that we have a lot of rental housing.
Yes.
And a lot of the rental housing are under rent regulations of some sort. Most of it is rent stabilization, very few, if any, are rent control. And I think they need to get involved in what's going on, and we should be advocating for them as well.
I agree.
Because, rents are going up. And, this wonderful mayor has a Rent Guidelines Board that actually gave the highest rent increases in a while. I mean, de Blasio, 0, he gave 5. I think-
0 was wrong. If you tell me taxes didn't go up, fuel oil didn't go up, that's,
Yeah, but the landlord's making enough money. Housing is a right. But anyway, that's,
But it-
I'm pontificating
but,
about my.
rent stabilized units in Community Board 8, and I'm sure there are quite a few.
City planning has all these statistics.
We'll get it, we have to get it.
to request
We should
those
ask city
statistics?
planning to give us, they actually break down income by census tract of community boards. See, that's one of the things when I was involved in Manhattan. Community Board 11, which is East Harlem. I said, you know, we should just push HPD to make the income guidelines, not the AMI, right above the Upper East Side. Why should we have people that live in our community who need the housing come from outside, even though there's an 80, I think it's 80-20 split that has to be,
Right, versus.
no, community residents.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Throughout the city, it's like that.
Yeah.
And then the people who are handicapped and all that. But, we should make the income more realistic to the residents of that community. And city planning had that information. At least they had it when I was involved, which.
I had what, the
2005.
income for population by
Community
It's
board.
called
by community board,
by census tract.
by census tract.
Which is
Very
really
teeny.
narrow.
That's very teeny.
I don't
Income
know
by
if they still
census
do it.
tract.
I don't know if they still do it, but they did it when I was involved.
No, they have it, you know they have it.
They have to keep
Yes,
it. Why would they
they have
change it? The policy.
I agree. I also would like to know how many rent stabilized units there are in the community, board.
City planning knows that
Right,
information.
okay.
They're statistical division, I forget the guy's name. He used to do all this, I'm sure he's
No,
retired.
he's gone, he's retired, yeah.
They're all retired. The one I dealt with is that Richard Barth is gone.
Yes, a
Yeah.
long time now.
I know his wife.
We're old timers.
I
I
know.
knew his wife before he was his wife.
Oh.
Yeah, what's the plan for replacing, like, housing that used to be affordable and is now private? Like, what happens? They clearly made money, right, because they went private, they bought out of the contract. Where does that money go?
Into the pocket of the owner.
Oh.
But let me tell you about Mitchell-Lama, since you lived in a Mitchell-Lama.
Yeah.
Mitchell-Lamas were built, it was a Mitchell and Lama, Republican and a Democrat, worked together and crafted this program to build affordable housing. This was in the late 50s.
Wow.
But their initial program was you had to stay in the program for 35 years, so there were no takers. When they changed it to 20 years, a lot of people. And one of the great portions of it, it had to be affordable, and you, the owner, this is a rental, you could justify to the city or the state, because it was two agencies that were involved, HPD and DHCR. You could justify to them, because you had to do income verification, that you did not make a profit. You didn't have to pay the principal. No, I'm sorry, you
On the
never paid
mortgage?
you never paid the principal. You didn't have to pay the interest on the mortgage. The only time you had to pay the principal on the mortgage was when you left the program. First year that anyone was eligible, which was 20 years, I think was when there was the recession. So no one bought out because they had to prepay their mortgage. Also, the real estate taxes or a lower real estate tax, wasn't the market rate. And usually the neighborhoods that the Mitchell-Lamas were built in were in urban renewal areas. That's why the Upper West Side has a lot of Mitchell-Lamas. Now, you can count on one hand how many Mitchell-Lamas they have because it's gentrified. And they all bought out when it was income, feasible for them to do that.
It was a good housing program.
It was.
It produced a lot of good, decent, housing,
Affordable
affordable housing,
It gave
yes.
people the opportunity to send their kids to college,
Yes,
you know,
we've been
to
on.
live a better life.
And it was quality housing.
And it was probably, and also in the co-ops, is why it's said that co-ops are leaving. The rental, you had no say if you wanted to leave the program, they call it buyout. Co-op, they call it privatization. You, as a shareholder, had the ability to stop the privatization by voting against it.
Right, voting, but it's all majority, right?
It's always majority, yeah. So that means it's the majority of people, and usually the people that vote for it are older people who have second homes because they have the ability to have a second home, and they want to make
Wow.
their second home their primary home, usually in a lower tax state like Florida.
Yep, that's
So
right.
they left, and lo and behold, the next bundle of who came in were higher income.
Yeah.
And you really don't make that much money off of it, because a lot of it, the way they craft it, is it goes back into the building to sustain it.
That's right.
But sometimes it doesn't, like Southbridge Towers in Lower Manhattan, in the financial district, they left the program. Now with the 97, local law 97, they're getting royally screwed because they don't have the money. See? That's the thing.
Rosemary?
Someone has
Yes,
a
dear.
hand up.
Yes,
Julie
yes,
has,
we
I'm
we
sorry,
have
whoever
we have a
it is.
hand.
Julie, go ahead, Julie.
Hi, I just wanted to let you know a lot of the issues that the committee is discussing tonight, they're great issues. But back in September, and I'm going to look for the link, I caught one of the council's meetings with the committee with housing, buildings, and land use, and the commissioner was speaking, and it was very informative. And they were discussing the AMIs, because that was a confusion for all, even at that meeting. They would discuss affordable housing, the SROs, everything that your committee is discussing tonight. So Rosemary, I'm gonna look for it and send you the link. I think it would be great if your committee just like browse through it. A lot of information was in there. And Councilman Dinowitz also challenged some of the speakers because he says they're coming into the district, you know, they want to build shelters, but it's affordable housing that we need. And they advised him that they would work with him in that effort. So he was very vocal in that aspect. But I'll definitely look it up and send you the link.
Thank you. And, Julie, I think we touched on it when, we spoke about, what do we do with the city of Yes, the housing piece, but there's a zoning piece? How do we, or do we, have to deal with the land use committee on this?
I would say talk with Chuck, but I as a committee, I would move forward with it as well because every bit helps. Because this mayor is gung-ho on putting those 500,000 units, and they're calling them units. They're not calling them houses or apartments, units. So that's where the garages come in and the single rooms come in. So I think every bit helps because, as you know, land use, they always have a lot on their agenda. And so if both the committees worked on it, it definitely cannot hurt. Because
And
just listening
Julie,
to your
we're
agenda, you
looking-
guys have a nice packed agenda.
It is packed, isn't it? But we're lucky Jessica and Lee are both on the land use committee.
Yes.
So
I know,
that's a
that's
nice
great.
bridge between the two, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so, thing good. Thank you, Julie, by the way, thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's, everyone's saying yes, okay.
8:02, not that one, whatever time that is.
No, that one is. Thank you, everyone, thank you very much. My first meeting, our first meeting together, all right.
Thank you for a nice meeting. I wish I was there. I had plans, but thank you, Rosemary. It was a great meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Ted, can you hit, okay, Camelia's supporting.
Do we have a
Okay.
motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Camelia. Can you, Ted,
Yeah,
can
Rosemary,
you, what?
Stop the recording?
Did we have a motion? No, hold on. Did we have a motion to adjourn in a second?
Yeah, you did.
It's
Okay.
unanimous.
And they know too.
All right.
Okay, good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ted, thank you,